let's dive in right into Chilluminati podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 34 of the Chilluminati podcast. Today is a hands-off episode for myself.
Hands off.
As we handed the reins over to Alex, as he is incredibly excited to take us along a journey all along the way. But before we dive in and all that stuff, hey, everybody, my name is Mike. I am your host, as always, joined by my two beautiful co-hosts, Jesse Cox. Hello, sir.
Yo, we got a live show.
Come see it.
This is like 4 or 3 days before the live show, so go over to Chilluminatipod.com. But before we dive into that as well, Alex, how are you today, sir? Welcome.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling real good.
All right, let's chill real quick before I tangent really hard. So, as Jesse said, we have a live show, October 30th. It's a Halloween special over in the Once Ballroom in Somerville. It'll be from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. You can get tickets right now at Chilluminatipod.com.
Come see us. Come talk to us. What are you guys doing? Come drink
with us after. Or high-five us, or handshakes, or whatever you want.
Or stand a ways away and just kind of
stare at us. Or just the show ends and just leave, and that's fine too. Like, whatever you want to do. Just come.
It is Halloween Eve, so
what happens on Halloween Eve, Jesse?
It's the 30th. It's All Hallows Eve.
It's when all those witches come to life and they try and get the kids or whatever happens in that movie.
We're very close to Salem. They could get on their brooms and come and seduce us? ? Hello, witches.
The Sarah Jessica Parker witch. I'll take it. Let's go.
I was thinking more Bette Midler, but we all have.
You know what? That's fine too.
I'm more of a Kathy Najimy.
Sure. Wallace does not agree.
Wallace
Wallace.
Parking at?
He's
Sarah the ghost
Parker.
That's in your room.
Let me just deal with it because I don't know what he's barking at, and I'm gonna handle it. And then
I'm waiting for you to go look at something and never return.
This is the beginning of a found.
That would be the most epic me episode of all time. Be right back. This is
Jesse. This is the beginning of a found footage movie where Alex goes off camera, and for a minute we hear what the fuck, and he gets cut off. Camera shakes just a little bit, and then Wallace just sits on the bed and stares at us.
Alex's camera shows a widescreen shot of his room.
It's true. We can see quite a lot.
You can see everything, and here's my problem.
I've been in Alex's apartment a few times, and I've never been in there.
At some point, something's gonna happen in the background. Like, there's gonna be something weird in the background.
I'm down.
Like, something's gonna move. I believe this. Something's gonna move.
I hope
and Alex
dude.
Won't notice, and then it'll be like that one movie where people die on Skype or whatever the hell that thing is.
Yeah, that's the new found footage trend, isn't it?
You're talking about
what a terrible name for a movie about Skype.
Dude, my friend Jacob is the guy in that movie who sticks his fist in the blender.
Tell Jacob
he made it.
I'm glad he got paid, but that movie is trash.
I think that's pretty much how he feels about it too.
I'm glad he made that money, but oof.
All right.
I can't let you have it yet, Alex.
All right, take it away,
I have
baby.
to talk about this for like 5 minutes.
Please.
Have you guys been following the extra alien disclosure stuff that's been happening as the weeks have been going on?
Well, the last update that I heard is that that the government is now partnered with this alien.
Yes, it's insane.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Wait, what? Wait,
Tom,
what?
Okay, Tom DeLonge. You know Tom DeLonge from Blink-182. He's the one that leaked the gimbal videos and the government
acknowledged. I'm aware.
So his whole company, To the Stars Academy, has claimed for a long while that he has he's found some pieces of wreckage that has metals that are not from this planet, blah 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 blah. He's been saying this for a while now, and a bunch of people are like, it's probably just this, it's probably just that. Even the government, I believe, came out and was like, I don't necessarily listen to him. 3 days ago it came out that the government contracted To the Stars Academy, and in the contract specifically, let me get it, I actually have it copy pasted somewhere because I was losing my mind.
You love to see it,
I was like, why would they say that? Listen, you know what? I'm losing my mind.
I'm ready.
But there's a very specific clause in the contract that I was losing it over. It was a Vice article.
If you find aliens, don't initiate intercourse with those aliens.
Okay.
Government contract number 1.
It's also on top of that. The Joe Rogan podcast as well. I don't know if you guys watched the interview with Commander David Fravor.
I did not see
the guy
it.
who chased the UFO, until he talks about his experience chasing the UFO.
Oh my God.
there's a lot of stuff just piling out over like very, very, very quickly. Where is it? Okay, here it is. Quote. This is directly from the contract that Tom DeLonge signed. This is through Vice. You can go read this article. Quote, government shall perform assessments, testing, and characterization of collaborator-provided technologies. The government is interested in a variety of the collaborators' technologies, such as, but not limited to, inertial mass reduction, mechanical structural metamaterials, electromagnetic metamaterials waveguides, quantum physics, quantum communications, and beamed energy propulsion, unquote. This is a government contract. What? I will copy paste you. This comes right out of the contract.
Like, I get what it's saying, but like, what? Are they saying that Tom DeLonge is gonna like he has the stuff
a UFO?
That
he has been saying this for months leading up to years, and now I'm starting to think Tom DeLonge is gonna be one of the major faces of disclosure or acceptance when all this shit comes out. I'm done. This is happening, dudes. We're gonna see aliens in our lifetime.
My God.
First off, it's insane. Second off, I truly believe that this is a giant nothing sandwich.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
No way. No
this is nothing.
way.
This is the government being like, okay.
Why would they spend their money and contract Blink-182s to the Stars Academy?
Have you seen what the government spends its insane amount of money on?
Just you wait. Mark this, listeners. Mark this, listeners. What day is it? October,
today,
whatever it is.
I'm just letting you know, nothing's going to come of this.
Mark this day. Take this soundbite from Jesse Lewis Cox.
Jesse Lewis Cox.
A big nothing sandwich.
25th of October, 2019. Nothing will come of this.
No,
I
God, Jesus,
you.
Jesse.
Nothing will come of
that's
this.
not normal.
If nothing comes
what do
of
you
it
mean that's not normal?
If nothing comes of it in 1 year,
this comes out.
This comes
out after the government acknowledges the UFO videos are indeed actually factually real. Those are not fake. And on top of that,
no. What they're doing is they're outsourcing the research. They're like, oh, well, if they're gonna do it, then yeah, here's some money. Go look into it. We're not gonna do it. And if you find anything, then give it to us.
I can't swallow it. He says the government is interested in a variety of the collaborators' technologies. Does that not mean he has them and they're interested in them?
Well, look, in the writing there, that's exactly what, like, the way that's written, that is how you're supposed to read that. But I do not, in the core of my being, believe Tom DeLonge has gravitational pulse accelerators and like weird. I know he doesn't have
now,
that.
You know,
where would he have that?
More than ever before, I identify with Tony Shalhoub's character in Galaxy Quest right now, like than I have ever had in my life. It's been so many
years since I've seen that movie, but. So if again, I'm kind of.
It doesn't make sense that he would have this technology. It's the things that are mentioned are not.
But he also is the one that got those freaking videos that were not supposed to be released from the government's home.
So what you're telling me?
Maybe it took
what you're telling me?
crazy.
Tom DeLonge is Spider-Man, and that he is both. Taking the photos.
Okay, Tom. No, he's not
around to the ship.
Yes, no, I'm saying Tom DeLonge has been a UFO fanatic as his entire life. This has been a passion of his for a long.
Maybe
long,
all we needed was
time.
somebody crazy to get famous with a band so that they could
spend
like, the right amount of money on this.
I can't, man. It's just too much. I can't like. It's interesting too because if you go listen to the interview with the guy who chased the UFO, like he was the CEO. He's talking about how. They've been chasing UFOs for fucking decades. It doesn't happen as much on the West Coast as it does on the East Coast. And he's not a big UFO guy. He doesn't do the conventions and stuff like this. But when he talks about how it moves and stuff, and then and then we look back at like the Bob Lazar interviews and the way they move and the gimbal videos that matches up with it. It's so interesting. No, I'm not talking about the alien aspect, but the technology aspect. If it's true, how they move, how they're able to move, how they're able to do like quick back and forth moves without any momentum and stuff. And they talk about how maybe what they do is they create this bubble and gravity in front of them and they tumble constantly forward into that empty void,
and you're
which is
telling
why
me
they can go into the water.
Former Blink-182 member Tom DeLonge
I can't tell
is the one who figured this out.
Former Blink-182 member and lifetime UFO disclosure advocate.
He's not true, and he's not doing this alone. He has an entire company he's built. He's not doing this by himself.
Here's the thing.
Jesse.
Going back to what you read, government shall, this is part of a contract, government shall perform assessments, testing, and characterization of collaborator-provided technologies, period.
Collaborator-provided.
Right away.
Provided.
Right. So what they're saying, but that's characterization of the technologies. So basically, what they have been told by Tom DeLonge's company is like, yo, we can or have access to stuff. And they're saying, okay, well, we'll determine if what you have access to is any good or not. We will perform assessment. We'll perform tests on it. We'll see if what you're saying is true. Because what we're interested, the next part, what we're interested in is the things that you've pitched to us as inertial mass reduction, mechanical structural metamaterials, all that stuff. So basically, Tom DeLonge's like, we can get our hands on it. We got this. And they're like, okay, if that's the case.
You don't think the government was like, show this, like prove that you have this first before we give you money?
You know what would really mess me up is if after this, Tom DeLonge went like dark. Completely
he just right? Like no, I had that same thought. Like he disappears, he goes away. That's when.
Why would he go? Why would that happen?
He either, what are you talking about? Either
the government locked him down. Like they not like no, not like in prison or anything like that, but just with money and contracts.
Like if he's like, hey, I have this technology, and the government's like, let's have a look at it. The next thing that's gonna happen is not like Tom DeLonge is gonna be like, I told you, I can tell you everything. It's going to be like, the government is going to be like, okay, shut the fuck up. What the fuck is this? And then he's going to have to like never speak of it again for like 5 years as they like reverse
and
engineer
especially if they believe it's going to give them a military leap. They don't want anybody to know. They don't want other governments to find out, other countries to find out, or they do, and they want them to be chasing the same thing. It's like another space race, but for technology.
You guys are adding layers to this that don't exist.
You're
adding
we just have to wait and see. It's a story that's
okay. It's going to be nothing.
You gotta admit, Jesse,
nothing.
Whether you think it's nothing or not, you gotta at the very least admit the acknowledgement of the UFOs, Tom DeLonge getting a contract, and this giant interview with the person who chased the UFO, all within about 3 months. I acknowledge
that there was something on video that was unidentified.
Multiple things, not just one.
Doesn't matter. It was unidentified. What was it? Who knows? We don't know. The government acknowledged that there was definitely something weird. That's all they've acknowledged. Don't put little green men inside those ships. You can't do that. You're putting your own biases on this.
I'm just saying, you got to look inside the ship. And there probably actually is a ship.
And they've said many times the CEO who chased, he's like, we don't have technology that can move like that. That can literally just move back and forth without doing loops, like in a straight line, back and forth. Starting.
And that guy that I was talking about a couple episodes ago, like whatever, like whenever I was talking about aliens last time, he was saying there's like elements with properties that like no Earth
element 151, I believe.
Yeah, like some crazy thing like it's like, you know, unheard of, like technology that's never existed before in a hangar in Las Vegas. You never know.
So
you never know.
I just had to get that out of my system.
Metal Gear
because
Solid.
It's wild to me, and I just feel like disclosure is starting to happen very, very rapidly. And,
all right, George Norrie, I strongly disagree.
Just keep an eye on Tom DeLonge. Just keep an eye on Tom DeLonge. That's all I'm saying.
I'm binging Blink-182 music from now.
This is how they get you.
That's probably not going to
all
give
of Blink-182 con.
While it'll be an undeniably fun summertime vibe,
dude,
I don't think it's going to help you.
Any goddamn weed yet, and I feel like I'm losing my mind.
Do you
Alex,
want to
take
feel
us away.
Even more like you're smoking weed? Because
I'm ready, dude.
I've got just the thing for you guys.
I'm so ready.
I found
Chilluminatipod.com. Go live show. Buy your tickets.
Never been more wrong. You two are so wrong.
Just
come to the show, watch these two make terrible decisions, and I have to steer them back on the right path,
Jesse,
towards adulthood.
You're
totally wrong. You're both wrong.
Just answer me one question, Jesse.
Yeah.
Are you ready to get gobsmacked?
No.
Are you ready to have your mind fucking dynamite tornado exploded?
No.
Are you ready to have a class 5 hurricane go off in your cerebral cortex, man? Because what I have for you here today, is one of those stories. It's one of those stories that pops up out of nowhere. Okay?
Oh no!
Blows your mind a little bit because it's exciting. It's a little bit weird, but then it just disappears. Nothing really comes of it for a while. Kind of fades out of your focus for a little bit. Goes to the back of your mind. It's just a weird thing you heard about once. Eventually, you practically forget it ever existed, and then one day, years later, it pops up again, and new stuff is happening, and it makes you wonder if you didn't write something real off from the very beginning. That's what we're talking about.
Now you got me.
You know where we are? We're in an episode of True Detective, guys. Because
dude, I feel like I'm edging, and you just barely started.
Because we, we got to do the thing where we like go through different timelines. You check in with the
branching timelines.
You check in with the case at different times along the timeline. That's what we're doing today. And I'm gonna,
okay.
I'm gonna have good old age makeup. Like I'm gonna look
Guide me,
like
Dad.
slightly older. Like it's really gonna be convincing. You're gonna forget which version of me is the one that's like the real me because the makeup's so good.
Oh, don't, dude. I've already been having those like post 30-year-old existential who am I thoughts. So let's not.
Yeah. If you watch True Detective, that was a really funny bit that I just did.
I did not
speaking
see that
of
show,
jokes,
unfortunately.
oh man, it was so funny. Speaking of jokes, I just want to say, much like the Andrew WK saga, this topic, it started out mostly as a joke from the beginning, just because it sounded funny to me that I was gonna come to you with this case. But then, like, I did a deep dive again, and again, I'm like, I don't feel like my buzz is even killed on this. Like, I'm not even like sure that like the weirdest possibilities here aren't like what's actually happening. And I just can't stop thinking about it. I wasn't even gonna do this one. Like, I wasn't even gonna do. I was gonna do something a lot. I was gonna do something a lot more well known. I zagged at the last second.
You sagged at the last second.
I did. I really did. Let's go. Let's go back. Let's fly back with me to 2012. Okay.
Whoa.
7 years ago. We're in 2012 again. Yep.
My YouTube channel's only a year old.
Yes.
StarCraft 2 is popular, not
I had
ruined
not been
yet.
taken advantage of by the entertainment industry yet. My life was not fucked up.
Y'all
2012.
You're living in some dark shit.
I was a waiter, so it's not that dark.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I worked at where was I doing? I was working at a shop in Santa Monica. Doesn't matter. Not relevant to the story. What is relevant is that there was a blog of a semi-popular journalist, travel writer, and award-winning crime novelist named Hillary Davidson, who was keeping a travelogue of her book tour for her second novel, which was called The Next One to Fall, and she was keeping this blog at popculturenerd.com. Oh, and you know what? Let me tell you something. This is something that's kind of like still unfolding and is being reported on by a lot of different sources online. So I invite you, like, before you go Googling this, please listen to this version of the story, because comparing all the different timelines, there are so many things that are wrong in like the the different places that the story is online. And I sort of like went back and made it all factual. So listen to this version first in terms of accuracy of times and what people said, because I listened to go three different stories, and people just misquote each other all the time. It's crazy. There's no standards. But that's what happens, because this is, you know what? This is like an internet story, but I like that flavor. But don't Google this, because seriously, it's gonna fuck you up. It's gonna fuck you up.
Don't look this up. Don't even just rely on Alex's storytelling.
Just look into it afterwards. But like, I'm telling you the best version of the story that I can with the most factual information possible. And there's a lot of stuff out there that's not necessarily true. So that's all I'm
you
saying.
set this up. Hit us with the story.
Here's the blog. When I checked into Houston's Hotel Zaza at midnight on Thursday night, there was some confusion. My first room was a themed room known as the Hard Times Room. This skull was on the wall. A few minutes after I got there, the front desk called up and said they had to move me. The people at the front desk were deeply upset at the thought of me being stuck in this room. I told them I was a crime writer, but they insisted on moving me to a swanky room with George Clooney on the bathroom wall instead. I like the skull better, actually. Okay?
George Clooney's a handsome man. How dare you?
Yeah. So this is weird. This is like kind of a weird thing. It seems kind of like bizarre that there's this room that has like, it's called the Hard Times Room. There's a skull on the wall. They were like, oh, my bad. But that alone is not like a particularly like noteworthy thing. Definitely weird, but not anything super crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
But a little bit later, like about a year later or so, there was a Reddit user called Joel Likes Music, who came to Reddit and had something that was like almost exactly the same, except this one was on a post on R Houston that was titled Zaza Insider's Question: What's up with room 322? But his version had a lot more details. So here's what it said. Stay here frequently when on business. Hotel was booked solid, and my colleague managed to score a room unplanned. We all had normal Zaza-style rooms, which in parentheses he writes, swank, and he ended up in this goth dungeon closet. Seriously, the room had a chain holding the bed to a wall, pictures of skulls, and a creepy, incongruous portrait of an old man. Room was about 1/3 the normal size, with the furniture blocking part of the TV, bed, and window. We asked about it at the front desk, and the clerk looked it up and said, that room isn't supposed to be rented, and immediately moved him. Anyone know what's up with this room? And then I have the pictures here for you guys to see.
Oh, that's awesome.
So have a look at these, and tell me what you think. Like, describe them to the people so that they can, like.
Yeah, I'll make sure I save this link and put it in the description
Yeah.
so people can jump in. Oh, that's creepy. So the first photo is of, like, worm twins. I don't know how you would describe
Yeah.
those women, but women is difficult. Like, their necks are, like, way too long, layered.
Super weird painting to be on in a
Skull
hotel room.
clock.
So let's like describe the room as a whole. So
Yeah, go for it.
the room is, if you know how when you enter a normal hotel room, you go through the big door,
Like there's like a little
entranceway into your
hallway
room.
area first.
Yeah, and there's a hallway which probably looks like it has a bathroom connected to it, and then you go down the hallway and there's a desk and TV on the right if you're like walking into the room.
They look
I'm sorry, the
very
left.
Utilitarian.
The left. And then there's a bed. The difference is, unlike most hotel rooms, there's not a lot of space. So the bed is turned and pushed up against a wall. There is a little tiny desk next to the bed, but there's also chains attached to the bed holding it up to the wall.
Yeah.
And a mirror next to the bed.
So take a look at that
And then-
mirror. Like, it looks like it's like into the wall, right? It's not like hanging there. It's like,
Well, the wall's brick, so it's definitely attached to the wall in some sort of way.
but it's not like a mirror that's hanging on the wall. It's like, you see, it's like in the
could be-
wall. It's like set into the wall.
Maybe I can't tell.
If you go to the,
You may be very right.
yeah. If you go to the picture that's like,
Oh yeah,
kinda-
no, it is in the
yeah,
wall.
it's like like set into the. You can see the edges of the brick go beyond.
Yeah.
The
I don't know if this is just because the
So-
pictures are weird, but like if you go to the second to last picture, what's on the TV and what's being reflected in the mirror is different.
oh yeah.
It says preferred network pharmacy Walgreens. What is
it's
it?
because it's a pano thing, where
A what?
he
Oh, yeah,
panoed
he-
from
he
one
did.
side.
Oh, okay. Yep, that
Also,
makes sense.
So
things to
it
note: the floor
changed.
is concrete.
Yes.
Yeah, that is
It's not like
awful.
there's
Honest-
no carpet.
Honestly, like part of me would really like this room. There's something about tiny like hotel rooms that I enjoy a lot, and I don't know. There's something.
But this
about
would
it.
be fucking weird, right? Like you
No,
wouldn't
it would be
like,
weird.
Yeah.
What
But-
makes it weird is the decor. So
Yeah.
the bed is like hanging on a chained thing attached to the wall. The lamps seem fine. Everything, there's crappy. There's no carpet. It's just concrete on the ground, and then there's a window that's covered. But the room itself, all the art in the room overlooking the bed is the
It's
two
fucked
worm
up,
girl
yeah.
picture. Adjacent to the mirror is the skull picture, and then above the TV is the picture of an old man.
It's like a
Yeah,
photo.
He's
of an old
happy
man.
though. He's smiling. He's a smiling.
To me, that's one of the weirdest things, and the other one is that the mirror seems to be like it could almost be like a two-way mirror. Like it's so weird that first of all, I've never seen a hotel in my life that has like a brick wall in it like that. And
It's also a very, very small. I've stayed in a few hotels that have been like, God, what are the? It's like the new wave of hotels were supposed to be like
the
super
pod
chic.
hotels and
Yeah.
stuff.
But- or
Yeah,
like
and
a
I've stayed at
old-
those where they've had brick.
or like an older if it's like a 150-year-old hotel, maybe
Mhm.
it's like
Sure.
people were physically smaller then or whatever. But
It's really weird for sure.
the two weirdest things to me are the picture of the guy and the like weird mirror. But from here, the thread absolutely blew up. There was like 2,500 upvotes. There was like 2,000 comments from people who were just like trying to get to the bottom of this increasingly weird mystery. And eventually, like a lot of people got swept up in this. There was a write-up about it from the Houston Chronicle at the time, which at the very least talked to the OP, verified the story that they told was like an actual real thing and wasn't like something they staged.
And they called the hotel too.
Yeah, the Hotel Zaza is
ensure?
actually
Cool.
famous for customizing a bunch of rooms in its hotel. But they're like usually, if you look at it on the site, it's like corny, extravagant. Like they have like a suite that's called the Rockstar Suite that has like animal prints
okay.
and shit.
Okay,
Or-
so it's themed. They're not strangers.
Yeah,
to themed
and that
rooms
one
then.
is it's mirrors on the walls. It's like 2,100 square feet. The bedroom sleeps 6. It's like a fucking nice room. There's one called Houston We Have a Problem that's like a Mad Men, like Jetsons furniture looking thing. There's like a
that's
globe that's got like coffee table globe. You know, just like it's nice. It's like actually tasteful, well designed, nice. This does not look like anything. The room that we're looking at, really. And the like degree of like design to it is like way low compared to like the other like themed rooms in the hotel. But yeah, it's almost like I don't know, like it seems like somebody did this on purpose, but for like a weird purpose. I don't know. But they talked to the public relations director of Hotel Zaza, whose name is Kyra Coots, actually, and the explanation she gave is actually pretty mundane. She said,
Okay.
Since the hotel is a historic hotel, all rooms on each floor vary in size, and they really wanted to use all the rooms in their existing size. This particular room, 322, also known as Hard Times, is compact in size, but well-equipped and a playful spin on a jail experience.
Oh, okay.
She also says it costs $180 per night, and that there's another small room on the same floor that's a ship's cabin and has a balcony that looks at the pool. But when I actually went in and looked it up, neither the Hard Times room nor the nautically themed one are mentioned anywhere on this website, anywhere, which not only lists every themed room in the hotel that they have, but also has like photos and like ad copy for every single one. So there's tons of rooms that you can look at on the website, and none of them are a ship's cabin or a jail room, and nothing is called Hard Times. This alone to me was enough to get me like initially interested in this, like back when I first saw this post, like a while back. But like it, you know, like I said, I kind of faded out of it. But here's like the theories that people were going with at the time, with like what could be the explanation for this. First of all, the guy in the photo, the old guy, they identified him as a guy named Jay Como, who was the one-time president of the Houston-based subsidiary of the Stanford Financial Group, which was called the Stanford Financial Group Company. Very dumb. But that makes sense because he was known to have held several events at the Zaza Hotel, and they also noticed that the Stanford Financial Group at large was seized by the government in 2009 after it was discovered that the president, Alan Stanford, was using it to run an $8.5 billion Ponzi scheme. So Como himself didn't even come clean. Like, he didn't come out of this clean. Like, this dude is not like some guy who was unrelated to that. This guy himself, he settled it in Houston without admitting or denying the findings of the SEC, the Security and Exchange Commission. And he, even though he probably received like $1.5 million or so from fraudulent sales, like commission, he personally profited off this crime. But his picture's up in this hotel room for some reason. And I'm not trying to play to any stereotypes here, but you can see how like on Reddit somebody's looking at this, they see this, and they think like, oh, like maybe he knows somebody at the hotel. Maybe there's some reason why these two, like this person is connected to this room. And it's not a direct connection, but according to another interview with Kyra Coots that I found that was at the Houston Press, the president of the hotel, whose name is Benji Hamzi, lived in that room 5 days a week for 2 months.
Okay.
So that's like
that's weird.
That's
but
another
again,
like fucking weird thing. Like I don't know why, as the president of this hotel, that you would ever like come here and decide that you want to live in this because you probably have
is
money.
this gonna be some like, yeah, they're rich dudes doing like rituals in this room?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like literally, Benji Hamzi, like his actual house is so nice that it's been covered in magazines. Like because the architecture is so beautiful and it's open and amazing. I don't know why for 5 days a week for 2 months, he doesn't like live far away. It's like, I don't know why that would be. It's like a weird factoid. Nobody knows why he would live in a room that is under a portrait of Jay Como. But Reddit realized two things. First, there's this other painting that's like this weird bald dude. Do you guys see that one still?
Yeah, it's supposed to be over his bed, I'm assuming it says. I just don't see it when he takes a picture of the bed.
Yeah. Like, it's like a gray.
He's got, like,
he looks like a putty from Power Rangers, kind of. His eyes are kind of fucked up. The first thing that...
You could have stopped at he kind of looks like a gray.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a gray. That painting is signed by Benny H., which people think might be Benji Hamzi himself. Though, like, looking at his actual house, he's got much better looking art up usually than this. And I'm not trying to say that this necessarily looks totally shitty. I could see this painting being up in, like, a coffee shop or something. But it's not, like, a hotel room quality painting by any means.
No.
Right? like, that's not, like, me being, like, hopeful.
I like, it could either be in a coffee shop in LA or it's a sixth grader's painting.
Yeah, it doesn't look amazing. So that's the first thing people noticed. And second, and much more interestingly, they noticed that Jay Como, the guy in the picture, is an alumni of LSU, the Louisiana State University, a.k.a. the home of the Delta Kappa Epsilon fraternity, which is also where we got the secretive Friars Club from, which was founded in 1908 at
Can
LSU.
I ask you a question?
Hold on. Was founded in 1908 at LSU.
Are you about to say this is Skull and Bones? Are you about
Hold
to say this is
on.
Skull and Bones?
Hold on.
Is that where we're
Hold
going?
on, Jesse.
Alex?
Hold
Alex?
on. Hold on. It was founded, the Friars Club was founded in 1908 at LSU in order to restore a chapter of the DKE fraternity that was closed down at the Centenary College in Louisiana at the outbreak of the Civil War. This sounds like a little bit of a stretch. I know that. But when you realize that the chapter that they were trying to reinstate was called Zeta Zeta, a.k.a. ZZ,
Zaza.
it's hard not to see how that could be connected to a hotel that's named something so weird as Zaza. And if that wasn't enough to rustle your jimmies, the Friars Club symbol is a coffin with a skull and crossbones on it. And even though Zeta Zeta was restored only 15 years after inception in 1923, their mission was accomplished. Zeta Zeta exists again in 1923. That was a long fucking time ago. It's almost 100 years ago. They still remain a very secret and powerful club. And recently
What is Skull and
celebrated
Crossbones?
their
Like, what do you? I
centennials.
don't even know
Skull
what
and
you're talking-
Bones?
So we'll get
This
there
is
next.
Skull and Bones, dog. This is Skull and Bones.
We're about to go right down that rabbit hole. So
All right.
I don't.
So some
why?
people-
Why are we doing
some
this?
people were happy enough with the Friars Club. People like the Friars Club idea. You know, the idea maybe like the room's like a weird little like mini clubhouse or something for old guys who are just kind of like they remember their college days. But wasn't enough for me, wasn't enough for some other people on Reddit. So they found this other sort of like level to this. So nobody's completely sure because a lot of the details are only rumor because these societies are secret. But going by the fact that they're both weird college groups that use skull and crossbones as their symbol, some people on the post made the connection between the Friars Club from LSU and the actual Skull and Bone Society, which Jesse was talking about, which was founded in 1832 by students at Yale University and is popularly connected to the zeitgeist to things like the Illuminati, New World Order, that type of thing.
Oh, shit. How do I not know
Now-
about this? This is like on my
So
alley.
hold on. Normally, this would be an almost groundless connection, right? That's crazy, right? That's just like a bullshit. Based on a picture of a skull, you couldn't possibly connect a hotel room to the Skull and Bone Society, right? Except
Wrong.
that if you look at an actual picture of the emblem of the Skull and Bone Society, what's the
I'm
other?
looking at it right
what's
now.
the other fucking thing in the picture? Just
It's a 322.
A 322!
No, it's the room. The room number.
yes.
Oh God.
To the point that some people even just refer to Skull and Bones as the Order 322, which to me is like it's too big of a coincidence. And even within like the society's context, amongst people outside of the society, there's not really a consensus on exactly what the 322 means. But one theory is that 322 BC marks the year of the death of the great Greek order Demosthenes. And that the skulls measure time from that date instead of like the time that we measure time from. Another is that it refers to the founding year of the society, which was 1832, and that the second two has to do with the fact that the founders of the club may have been German students who were reestablishing a second version of their own German club that's like also connected to the Illuminati.
Wait, why have what the
I know, right?
fuck is this shit?
How do you not know about Skull
There's
and Bones?
movies about it.
Yeah, there's
John
literal movies.
Kerry. John Kerry is part of the order.
Yeah.
And when he was
Everyone.
interviewed about it, the dude got tased and arrested.
Yeah.
There are many, many, many political figures. Many presidents have been part of Skull and Bones. Yeah, are you kidding me?
Now this is going
I've
down.
never heard of this.
So
Yeah.
there is another explanation, though. In the Vice article that was written about this, an occultism expert added another layer of the meaning, stating that it could also be Hebrew geometria, where each letter is a number, so you can add up numbers to make words. So, like, 322 could mean anything from, like, lamb or man or demon. They're all connected in there. And if you think the Skull and Bone Society aren't serious about their skull love enough to, like, justify there being, like, skull theming to the room, they totally are. It's a pretty well-accepted fact that they probably have Geronimo's skull in their clubhouse, which they just stole. Like, the hero Geronimo. They, like, took his skull. Geronimo's family even sued the organization one time for the skull. And they're also said to own the skulls of Martin Van Buren and Pancho Villa, among others. So that's for the people who have galaxy brain. That's the theory for people who have galaxy brain. But for people like Jesse, there's another theory. They saw all the facts and then concluded that this was all just a little too perfect, and that maybe the whole thing was just an insane stunt being pulled by PR marketing executive Kyra Coots, who again is the head of PR for the hotel. Literally, like, marketing the hotel to the public is her job. And so maybe she did this to keep their name in the news and to keep people for talking about the hotel for as long as they can, just getting it to come up in search results and all that type of stuff, just because people are, like, talking about this mystery all the time. But to give a little bit more evidence to that, there's, like, people talk about the interview that she did with Vice and say that it's pretty weird. So I'm just going to, like, read through a little bit of it, and you guys can, like, decide how weird it is, because I think it is pretty weird.
Yeah.
The Houston Zaza claims to have pioneered themed room suites. Are you one of the first hotels in America to have them? She says, the Zaza collection started in Dallas, where our first property was built 10 years ago. Our owners and president were really the visionaries and pioneers behind Concept Suites, so when the Hotel Zaza Houston opened a few years later, they continued with the same conceptual design. What are some of your more popular Concept Suites? She says, one is, Houston, we have a problem, which is fitted with a NASA theme because Houston is home to NASA.
Yeah.
The furniture is very space age, and it has some NASA collectibles in there. Another one is the so-called Loft, a take on New York City. It has the red exposed brick and artwork that's reminiscent of New York. Can you talk me through the Hard Times room I've read about online? Yeah, that's actually room 322 here at the hotel. The building was built almost 100 years ago, so when Zaza came in, they wanted to use the existing structure. They didn't want to manipulate anything for design purposes. As a result, there are a couple of rooms throughout the property that are more compact. For 322, the idea was just to take a fun, unique spin on a jailhouse experience, so it has an exposed brick wall and a bed hanging from the wall with chains. It's just a fun way to decorate a small space. What about the please continue.
Yeah.
What about the decorations in there? I saw that there's a portrait of the president of the Stanford Financial Group Company on the wall, which seemed a little odd. She says, I'd need to look into that a little bit further. Do you know where the paintings and photos are from? They look very different to the decoration in all the other rooms. The art is really infused throughout each of the properties in Houston and Dallas. It's part of the culture of Zaza. The particular paintings in that room are just the ones we felt most captivated the experience you were going to have, and go with the theme of the room.
Fucking nightmares.
The theme of the room being jail? Right. Including the two-headed woman? She says, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you. I can get back to you on that. I'd have to check with the designers. Are you aware of the online discussion about the room? I'm aware of the ongoing dialogue, yes. What do you make of it? I definitely think that if folks haven't had an experience with a historic property, they might have had a hard time understanding why a room is so small in nature compared to other larger suites. But when you see historic properties, you have a little more understanding of how the spacing is configured. I think people online are more interested in why there's a portrait of the president of the Stanford Financial Group company as opposed to why the room is small. I would definitely need to get back to you on that one, she says. Do you hire or sell rooms to private clients? Would purchasing a room in the hotel be a possibility? She says, all of the rooms are available to be booked. 322 is certainly a room that's able to be booked. Then the person says, really? The person online who booked the room was allegedly told that it wasn't supposed to be booked. She says, I think that was just a misunderstanding and has perhaps been paraphrased incorrectly. We have a guest in there right now, so we do utilize room 322. It's part of our collection of rooms, and it's not something that we shy away from. Yeah. So it's weird that she basically ducked every single question about anything regarding a mystery in a very creepy way, and even pretended to not be able to hear, maybe. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. I mean, the art, like you said, the art doesn't really make any damn sense. For a themed prison room, because I've stayed in years ago. I went to ParadoxCon, and one of the places they held it in was an old prison that was retrofitted into a hotel. So you had a prison cell that was themed as a prison, a prison cell room that was retrofitted to be a room and themed that way. But yeah, you felt like you were in a prison, but wasn't like this.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't really scream jail to me.
No, the bed on the bed with the chain does a little bit, because that's how it was as well for me, but nothing else. Nothing else fits.
Yeah,
this makes it feel like a prison.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the 2013 portion of the timeline. But I just want to draw attention to something that I noticed at the bottom of the original post, which thus far has only really been mentioned on a video with a fairly low view count, sub 100 views.
Okay.
Like many popular Reddit posts, this one was updated with a few edits as time went on from the OP, telling people what was going on, press coverage, addressing questions that people in the comments were asking, things like that. But the very last edit he made is very weird. I'm just going to read it to you. And to the very new Redditor offering me a bounty to delete this thread, I'll totally do it because cash is cash. But I don't want to die either. So let's do this publicly. I'm posting your message you sent me, and we can meet at the Monarch Bar next week. I'll be in town on Monday, and we'll update this thread when I get to Monarch so we can meet. And then he says there's a screen cap, but when you click on the screen cap, it just leads back to that same Imgur that I
with all
already
the
sent
pictures,
you, and there's no screen cap of the offer. So not conclusive in any way towards anything, but it's a weird fucking detail that I noticed that I think people should know about, because it does seem to imply something, right? That somebody's willing to pay a pretty large amount of money to have somebody delete this Reddit thread for some reason.
Yep.
And that's where that timeline of True Detective goes. And then we go back to now, 7 years later, in 2019. Since then, this story's popped up here and there on small sites over the years, most notably on another big Reddit thread on our unresolved mysteries that mostly is just a bunch of references to the original thread that just kind of tell the story a little bit more coherently. But it isn't until about a month ago now that it really starts picking up steam again, thanks to a video from a pretty new YouTube channel that's just been kind of doing the unsolved mysteries thing on YouTube and just kind of popping off. They're called Barely Sociable. And in this video, he rehashes a lot of what we've already talked about, but he also calls the hotel and records the call, and I'm about to read the transcript to you right now. He says, "Do you have a full list of the concept suites? Is that what they are?" And they say, so our suites arranged from the top level are the Magnificent 7 suites. There's only 7 of them on the 12th floor, and then the concept suites, which is on the 11th floor. Those are also theme suites as well, and then under that falls the junior suites. The junior suites aren't themed. They're just bigger suites with a little more spacing rather than a standard level room. Okay, and then the guy goes, okay, so just to go through this. Oh, you guys do have some photos here on the website. So just to make sure it's the fullest of suites here, I'm going to let the girl I'm going with decide. So you guys have the Bella Vita, the Black Label, the Fatal Charms, For Your Eyes Only, It Happened One Night, the Rockstar Suite, and the Tycoon, and then the ones listed under the concept suites. And then there's no other theme suites. These are all of them. And they're like, yes, sir. Those are all of them at this property. And he goes, okay, and do you guys have another property here in Houston? And they go, we have the Memorial City location. Then they chat a little bit about some stuff that has nothing to do with anything. And then he says, okay, all right, well, I'm going to look through the photos here. And just to confirm, these are all the suites for both properties, correct, in Houston? And they go, yes, sir, that's correct. Pretty standard phone call. But he does confirm, this person on the phone does confirm that regardless of whether or not the room exists or is available to be rented, if you ask for it, the staff of the hotel either does not know about the room or pretends not to know about it to members of the general public, which either way is weird to me.
I want to call them really badly.
Yeah. But then, like a week ago at the time I wrote this, which I think now is like maybe like a few days later, like 10 days ago, another guy on Reddit, this guy named Jay Pagel, posted to the Unresolved Mystery sub with a pretty crazy proposition, okay? He said, so I remember hearing about this mystery, and when I watched the above video, I just thought, why hasn't anyone stayed in this room and documented the whole experience yet? Well, you know what? I live in Houston, and I've got nothing going on this weekend, so I called the hotel a moment ago and asked if I could book this specific room for Friday, specifically room 322, known as Hard Times. Sure enough, they were more than happy to book me the room, albeit they seemed genuinely shocked anyone would call wanting to stay in that specific room. I asked about the room, and here's what I discovered so far. The room is very much available to rent, but it's probably their least popular room and is considered a last-to-book room, meaning it's one they typically only fill when the rest of the hotel is booked solid. I found this particularly interesting considering all the buzz on the internet about this room. The decor has changed slightly over the last few years to tone down the creepiness. Specifically, they have replaced a lot of the pictures on the wall. The guy I spoke to had no idea why it still isn't listed on the site as a themed room, only that the owners like it, quote, for some reason, and don't want to get rid of it. He said he thinks they like the quirkiness, quote unquote, of it. So if I book it right now, it'll be $249 for a one-night stay this Friday. Oof. If I do it, does anyone have an interest in me doing this? Is this something you guys would follow? I don't want to spend the money on this if there's little or no interest in this little experiment/adventure. Obviously, as I was literally researching this episode in real time now, like things were happening now in this story after I started writing this. Seriously.
That's wild.
This seemed a little bit too good to be true. But sure enough, a few days later on October 11th, he started live posting his stay, complete with pictures and videos. Though the video links are all privated now because afterwards he edited them all into one giant video on his channel.
Okay. That makes
so
sense.
Here's what happened. First, he posted about how on top of what we already know about Benji Hamzi living in the room for 2 months, which we already talked about earlier, they apparently still love the room, and often they stay there to this day when they're in town. So even over these 7 years, the owners of the hotel have still been coming regularly and staying in this shitty little room for some reason. Stop it. Stop barking.
Wallace wants in. He wants to book it.
Yeah. That's so weird. First things first, at around 9 p.m., he went up to the room to do a quick once-over and see what things had been changed. But it really only seemed to be that the painting of the twin girls was moved to another wall to be replaced with a framed prison uniform that says property of Zaza. And not surprisingly, Jay Como's picture was gone. But what is super weird about that is that it was replaced by a small black and white photo of Conan O'Brien in an electric chair, which is just a weird thing. It's just like a weird...
That is a very bizarre artistic choice.
So I'm going to... Oh, God, I didn't...
Yeah, let's do it.
I didn't give you the link. Give me the... I just...
No, you just said, here's all the photos.
There you go.
All right, I'm in.
So
Let's
have
see.
a look. Let's talk about these new changes. You also get to see the furniture a little better. You also get to
now
see...
it very much looks more... So previously, it was a room that the art and the decor didn't match what they were going for. It was like reddish, and there were weird brown tones. Now, it's all very metal. The table that you would eat food on is metal. The bed has sort of more metal fringes on it. So is the skull. Still has the weird painting of the alien looking dude. But like the outside balcony area has a thing called the yard now with like a little weights. So you can definitely tell they tried a little bit more, but they also kept some of the old art just to like, you know,
keep it creepy. Yeah.
It's almost,
but it looks darker. It looks darker. Like they repainted the walls. They added more metals to the room. I mean, Okay, I'll let you continue. I already have thoughts, but I'll let you continue.
So then he made a plan to meet up with Houston-based Redditors in the bar, but nobody showed up, so he ended up slamming a few rum and cokes with a dude who he didn't think was part of the Reddit group. But to quote his own words, he said, "I don't think he's one of you guys, but for some reason he kept wanting to push me for more and more details on what I was here for." Weird. And then almost an hour later, he posted he's still hanging out with that guy and that he's also now extremely wasted. Then he goes up to the room and does a deep dive on the details, double and triple checking for two-way mirrors, microphones, secret passages, anything like that. Doesn't really find anything that sets off any alarm bells, explaining that after this check, he feels pretty confident that there's nothing really going on here other than that the owners of this hotel are kind of weird and keep this room around as a pet project. Until an hour or so later, when he notices something extremely strange about the wall the mirror is set into. First of all, like I said earlier, it's the only brick wall in the room, which is something you wouldn't really expect to see in a normal, like, modern-day hotel room. But it also could have easily been built to turn a small portion of the room into a viewing chamber for the two-way mirror.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
Like,
yeah, because
wait,
he's
what?
saying that this wall could have been constructed to literally kind of, the room was bigger initially,
Yeah.
and they just went.
If you can
and
imagine,
just put
like,
a
yeah, maybe they
brick
just
wall there.
put a wall with
Which-
a mirror in it, and it's right over the bed that you could, like, stand behind.
So my next question would be, because usually hotel rooms are really close to one another. Usually the wall is literally separating you from the next room. Granted, this is an older building, so architecture could be finicky, but I'd be curious how far away the next.
So he walks out the
Hotel
door.
room.
There is.
So he walks.
All right, yeah.
So he walks out the door to see what it shares a wall with, and he finds a narrow employees-only door with a padlock on it that he couldn't find in use anywhere else in the hotel, on any other door, and films a little addendum to the video about it next morning. And here's the link to the full video for you later, so that you guys can look at it in the show notes. And yeah, it seems like there's a closed off room behind that wall. So what does that all mean?
So that may be true, but there is a what is that called? A layout. Like, there's actually like a layout of that floor online you can look at. And while there is an employee's door, what's directly behind that mirror is another hotel room's bathroom. And so if it was like someone trying to sneak through, then they would be looking through pipes and shit in order to see the hot sex, I guess.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. It's like, why is there a door there? Like, why? Like, it's a small.
Okay.
Like, we've been talking this whole time about how weirdly small this room is, and if the answer is just that they converted half the room into the back half of another room, why would they do that? And why would they put a recessed mirror on that wall? Like, I've never heard of a wall with a recessed mirror in any house anywhere. You know what I mean? Any hotel room.
It could be because it's brick. It could be because a lot of different reasons. I think it's the idea that they had a small room like this. Like, I don't know. I have a lot of theories, and none of them are like people watching you do it. But please continue.
Well, that's it. That's where the mystery is today. That video went up like less than a week ago. This is still just kind of like something people are talking about online right now. But I am so interested in it because there's just a couple more coincidences here than normally make me feel like something is not real. Like the fact that the employees don't tell you that the room exists is super weird. The fact that
to me that like every one of these things has a reasonable explanation that is only made more mysterious because no one's forthright with you. But it's the idea that like the employees are not gonna try and sell people the smallest, shittiest room there, right?
But
they're actively gonna be told not to do that.
But it would be part of the theming of the room. It's like, oh, it's like a jail room, and
right. But that no one like for $229. That's not going to be. You can tell why they would be told this is our last. Like, do not sell this property because this sucks.
Well, let's say
like no one has good experiences.
The other angle I would come at that from too, if you want to keep it more grounded too, is that they could, if it's literally one of their owner's favorite rooms, to always have it at the ready in case he's about to show up and wants it.
Also, I think it's just because it's an old building, there probably are crappy small rooms. They even said there's rooms of different sizes. So this could be one of those ones that, if you look at old Soviet architecture, things like, there's some things don't make sense if it's not properly planned.
Yeah.
And I think that this is one of those rooms that just isn't properly planned. I think I would genuinely love for it to be a two-way mirror and it's like some freaky sex thing. I think that would be amazing.
But what about
I don't know if that's the case,
Jay
though.
Como? What about this giant rich criminal who lives in Houston, whose picture is up in the hotel room and has connections to a secret society at LSU? Where he went?
No.
So what I think about
Zeta
all
Zeta.
that is, I think that the owners are weirdos, is what I think. I think anyone who's gonna own hotel chains and be like, this is the what happened last night suite, and this is the 40 lashings with the whip suite.
But did you
or whatever the hell.
Did you look at them?
Yeah, oh no, trust me. I've been literally, as you've been talking, on the actual Zaza web pages and looking at photos.
The other rooms look actually good, though. You know what I mean? They don't.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the owners are just weirdos, and I think their whole thing of like, oh, well, we have a shitty small room. How do we sell it as something? And originally it was like, oh, small, it's a prison cell. And then they were like, well, how do we decorate a prison cell? And in their minds, they were like, let's make it weird. And so they added these things, and they just, because
you don't think it's more
creepy
likely
people stayed there.
You don't think it's more likely that pictures of the room, that their weird room that they had, got out, and then they were like, it's a jail room, and then they got rid of some stuff. They added the stupid yard sign, and they added like a jail thing. You know what I'm saying?
If that's the case, then it could easily be that they made a weird room and they had to explain the weird room they made. But I also don't think it was a weird cult room. I think they created a room, they made it very weird. They added we'll throw skull and crossbones in there because that's creepy and weird.
All coincidence? Jay Como is part of Delta Kappa, which is connected
I
to
think this is
Zeta Zeta and the Skull and Bones at 322.
I think all of that is like coincidence falling into place.
All
for
of
this.
that?
Yes. The
guys had
entirely.
The guys had events in the hotel. He's a criminal.
Yes. I think them having events in the hotel. I think this room could easily be chalked up to being like snark and or like
they actually live in it.
Yeah, which is why
I think
like if the owner lives in it, all those things are like things the owner thinks are hilarious, and sometimes people are not. They aren't funny. And so him being like, remember when we had that criminal here? Hilarious. Let's put that up. Like, that's
fucking weird. And then they replaced it with
It
Conan
is weird.
O'Brien.
I'm saying the owners are weird.
And then they replaced it with Conan O'Brien in an electric chair as if, like, that guy was...
I'm not against I think there's a lot of coincidences that fall into place here. I'm kind of with Alex on that.
There's so many.
I don't know if there was, like, weird rituals happening here. I would say that if this rich guy or the owner is part of it...
I can't believe we've gone from one thing to rituals happened here.
Madness. No, I'm saying I don't think that's what happened. My down to earth but still want to believe in like at least the coincidences not being more than just coincidences is maybe this guy is part of the order. And this is kind of his way of celebrating that he's part of the order. Like, this is his favorite room. So he's like, 322, I'm part of the order. So he kind of made the room into style and he started living in there so he could kind of like imbibe himself with the reminder that he's part of the secret society. I don't know if the mirror is a two-way thing or anything like that. It's weird, but I would not put it past that, like, somebody with fuck you money and all the time in the world to come by and be like, this is my secret project and I love being part of the order and I'm just going to go ahead and decorate it. And then when it got out, maybe a marketing guy was like, this is great. Like, this is great for viral marketing. Let's just kind of push the rumor out there some more and make it even more of a fantastical.
Or what if you're a rich businessman with no taste of the kind who goes to a really expensive
That's also true.
like hotel that, you want to do the NASA suite or whatever, like you want to do something stupid like that. And then you're like, man, I'm here with my wife, but like, what if there was another hotel room where I could go have sex with like a prostitute?
I mean, yeah, that's
You know, and they're
that's
like,
very
"Yo, can I
possible.
hit up,
That is not
Can I
out of the
hit
realm
up
of possibility.
322, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like a little code. It's weird. I'm with you. It's super bizarre.
To me,
because
everything in my
price went up,
everything in my
too.
brain wants me to say that it's just nothing, but it's just the amount of things that come together in this are too many. The locked room, the secret society.
I wonder if
recessed
John
mirror, the
Kerry has
brick
ever stayed
wall,
in that room.
The 322.
Are you sure it's not more likely that it's room 322 and thus they based all like they were like, oh, it's 322.
It could be.
It's creepy. Let's add. Oh, Skull and Bones. That's 322.
Yeah, that's
Add
what
it
I'm
to the
saying.
room. Like
I
I
feel
think
like
it's
the owner-
reverse of what is like the creepy thing. I think
It's
it's weird
bizarre,
people
though.
being weird and accenting the room with 322s to make it weird.
It very well could
because
be.
it's the theme.
I just have no idea. It's so fucking weird, and it doesn't like the decor of the room doesn't really speak of like smack of like intention originally. You know, it's
No, it definitely feels like a smattering of
yeah,
random creepy
it's just
shit.
a weird room. But yeah, this was the internet mystery that I found that to me was the most like possible, like of all these like Reddit mysteries that go around that people look at. To me, this one actually made me think like, oh, maybe.
I would love it if that was a two-way mirror and it was like for freaky sex stuff.
Just to film
That
it, you know?
I would love that was actually true.
It's
but I
not
don't
that
believe
crazy.
it's
like
true.
people do
If
that.
that tiny,
Yeah,
if that
I would
tiny room
believe.
wasn't-
I would be like, yeah, all right.
Maybe just to get a
that
camera
room
out from
wasn't,
in
like-
between the wall. You know what I mean? It could be anything. Like it could be just
the
pipes.
fact that it's $250 friggin' dollars a night though makes it a little bit difficult to
I think
rent.
that's just a product of it being at Hotel Zaza, though.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
part. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not
Like-
saying that's part of it. I'm just saying I would love because next time I'm in Houston, I'll be like, man, maybe I'll just go spend a night there. But
Yeah, like if you're saying
Not for that
there's a
price.
bathroom from another room kind of jutting into that room, I could totally see that little employees only door being like just to a place where you can place a camera behind the mirror where you can like run it if you want to catch somebody.
blackmail, you thinking like powerful people, like you said, maybe doing illicit things.
Yeah, you
and
send them
having
down there. You
evidence
say,
of it.
hey, if you just ask for room 322 if you need it, you know, if you need it.
Yeah,
And then you
yeah.
send the bellboy down there, and you're like, "Yo, turn on the little, turn on that 322."
I mean, like that's not even that out of the realm of possibility with what we've known has happened with government and freaking Jeffrey Epstein and all that other
That's what I'm
nonsense.
saying.
Like, that shit
That's what I'm saying.
is real.
It's not that
like
wild.
that happens. The government has rings of horrible shit happening all the time, and I'm sure they record and keep it as evidence as a means to keep people under their thumb.
Even if the like kooky theming is just like fun for the people who made it, I still don't think
Right?
I still don't think it's crazy that room is like maybe like a little fuck room. Little
Yeah, no, I
Houston
definitely wouldn't be.
boosting.
I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up being, something along those lines for sure.
Little Houston.
Well, that's a wild.
Zaza.
That was a weird rabbit hole, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
If
for
you guys
dragging
like this
us.
one, let me know. I got like 3 more that are like kind of this flavor, that are like weird internet.
we're gonna want them all, so just have them ready at any
Have
given
we ever
time.
done? If we're gonna do like weird things that probably have reasonable explanations but are just weird,
maybe have reasonable
we-
explanations, possibly.
Are we ever gonna do that? What's that girl's name?
Eliza
The answer is
Lamb.
likely
Elisa. Yeah. Are we ever gonna do that girl?
We can.
What is it?
The
Who?
fucking girl from the elevator footage where she was found in the
The
water
girl who
tower.
like was
Oh,
and
the
then she
girl-
was dead and like in the
But she
water.
was-
They found her in the
Yeah,
water
but she was
tower.
sealed in there. Like there was no way for her to get in
Yeah,
there. and
that
she
one's
was,
crazy.
Yeah.
I can look into that.
That's that's one that only happened a few years ago. I remember when like seeing that footage for
Happened in
the first time,
2013.
feeling what the
Just around the same
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
as
that-
this.
the world.
They
is
made
full
a
of
video
mysterious
game about
things,
it.
and we just gotta hurry up and
What?
figure it all out before the aliens come down.
What's the postmodern RPG? What's it called?
Lisa? Yeah.
Not
Lisa.
Lisa.
That's
Not
the name of the.
Lisa.
Oh,
Y2K
Yeah, Y2K.
is about that.
Yeah, Y2K is like
Wait,
heavily
really?
about that.
What?
Yeah.
What? Y2K is an RPG.
Yeah.
Is it on
Dude,
Steam?
Yeah.
it fucked me up because it's very Earthboundy, right? And so I got a code for it because I was like, maybe I'll do like a video on it or something or stream it. And I started playing it, and it asks you for your name at the beginning, like Earthbound does, or any RPG really. And I wrote my name
the
as
main
Alex.
character's name is Alex.
Yeah, I wrote my name as Alex, and everybody was like saying Alex and like speaking the name Alex, and I was like, oh shit, and then I like saw a
What?
screen cap of the game and it said Alex in the screen cap, and I was like, ah.
You're like melting down. Your brain is leaking out of your ears.
And my save file was called like True Alex or something like that. And I was like, what the fuck?
Man. Well,
On
shit.
October
Now
30th.
I'm like ready to start. I want to research Skull and Bones now. I cannot believe I have not.
You got to
heard of
watch
this
what's
freaking
the
group.
name of that thing on Netflix? The Family? Have you seen that? If
No.
you guys are into
No, I'm.
and
I
go
am.
watch the
Oh.
series on Netflix, The Family. It'll make you existentially upset. It's so fucked up. It's so fucking crazy. I almost did that too, but then I was like, there's just a like documentary about it that's way better that I just watched, so it's like pointless for me to do this. But fuck.
But for the
Yeah,
viewers.
I'm so interested in what rich people get up to in their free time. That's it. On October 30th, come to Massachusetts.
Can I tell you?
Please do.
Since you mentioned, you just said that I need to what is it called? I literally just saw it. So I was on a website for this, right? And it was like people trying to figure out who would stay at this place, like what was it for? And off to the side was an ad for something called Raya? Was that the name of it? Raya?
Raya.
Yeah, that's what it was. Raya. It was an ad off to the side, and it said, for exclusive, wealthy, and famous people, it's a dating app. And I clicked
shit.
the link to figure out what it was, and
It's only $8 a month.
literally is an app that like is supposed to be for the most famous, most elite, most beautiful people, and it is basically, I swear to God, so celebrities and the wealthy can find like beautiful, like people to bang. That's what it looks like, and you can be rejected. And you can like all this, like it is meant for like the super elite, and yeah, it's an invite only, so you have to know people in it to get on.
What do you think about like a medium tier digital influencer?
an engaged medium tier digital influencer. That's a great question,
Dude,
pal.
I'm
Great
a
question.
bottom tier digital influencer. I'm just saying, if we could like get Jesse to do an embedded piece.
I would, by all means,
Ooh,
go on
yeah.
here. I figure
A 1-year project.
Ben
and a
Affleck is
complete-
on there now.
Now you just gotta watch Jesse.
Apparently,
God, you're good friends with Ben Affleck. He could get you on
Jesse
there.
disappears.
huge.
If he
He
just disappears,
or we get replaced with somebody who sounds and looks like Jesse, but
he's
he
just gonna
believes
go the way
everything
of
we say.
Tom DeLonge. He's gonna just go dark because he's gonna get connected to
He's-
the Matrix.
no, you can't. Don't cast Tom DeLonge in doubt right now. All right, man. We've got to.
No,
we gotta
I want to
wait
know.
this out.
I
We gotta
feel I
wait this
smell
out.
disclosure on the wind. That's all I'll say.
Do you not like? Yeah,
I
like,
smell
right.
it. Blood
Like
is in the water, guys.
Oh, it's like. mm.
Get hype, guys. What's the deal with room
Man,
322?
what a.
Guys.
I don't know. Is that what the order for the PS4 was based
No,
on? That
no,
order?
No. The order
No?
is like
Okay. All right. I didn't know.
X-Men.
I didn't play that game either because
sort of.
I know
Yeah,
they fight
not
werewolves.
like X-Men. More like Men in Black is what I meant to say, not X-Men.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Weren't the lampposts like really
yeah,
well
dude,
rendered?
that game was tight. It's just
Uh,
like it's 4 hours long, but it's good.
Yeah. So.
Guys, come to Boston.
I believe you.
ChilluminatiPod.com. John Wick
.com.
approved this message. Don't shut me down.
John Wick
Legendary
approved
Pictures.
merch.
I am just joking.
we have exclusive glow in the dark posters that we'll be selling while we're there, and T-shirts and stuff. If you want to grab yourself some
The
merch, we'll
poster
have
is
some of them
cool.
there as well.
It's the
The
thing
poster
that's
is
on the
cool.
website, but it's a poster.
It is, and it glows in the dark, and it's dope. So yeah, come see us October 30th again, 7 to 10 p.m. We'll be there telling spook stories and hanging out and with making you guys laugh, ideally. And
And the
we hope to
hat's
see
on
you
sale
guys
right
there.
now. $7
So thanks.
off. The snapback.
It is. It's on sale for a little bit longer. You can go get the hat. They found a few more in the warehouse that they hadn't sold, and we gotta grab them while you can because they're gonna be out again very, very soon. So come by. We'll see you guys on October 30th. Chilluminatipod.com. Alex, thank you for taking us on
Anytime.
this bizarre ride. I always enjoy the roller coasters you set us on. And Jesse, thank you for being the grounded center to it all.
I gotta
so we
keep
can
you guys
stay
in
in
check.
orbit.
This thing would
Because
fly off
if
the
it was
rails.
just-
If I wasn't here, the episode would be like, and aliens, they're actually in the
tell me if I-
government.
tell me
I'd
if
be
I
like,
didn't-
stop.
Yeah,
Tell
but
me
they
if I
might
just sent
be.
you this link to this Reddit post, you wouldn't go deep in this one night by yourself. Tell me you wouldn't just go all the way down.
Oh, I absolutely would.
Oh yes,
I absolutely would.
I always travel deep down the rabbit hole of Reddit, but I always leave being like, well, that was a fun read, not like, did everyone know? They're like,
you embezzled $1.3 million.
And the government contracted Tom DeLonge. These are facts.
Commission on
Jesse.
fraudulent clients.
Facts.
Here's all I'm going to say is I'm currently going down the Rhea rabbit hole right now, and I want to let you know the founder said, and I quote, Rhea is a utility for introducing you to people who can change your life. That is some Illuminati stuff.
Please
is what that
apply.
is.
All right, I'm
Please
applying.
apply.
Dude, I have, like, I get 10,000 views a video. You know, I have like 200,000 YouTube subscribers. I'm pretty sure I belong.
That's
on
pretty
that
good.
app. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Get on there.
famous. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I may not be A tier, but I'm like
At
A
least.
minus tier. So, well, we'll be back soon with some more Chilluminati. Ted Bundy Part 3 will be the next wrap-up episode, I believe, after this. And then aliens.
I
is
got
all
a couple.
can
I got a
think
couple
about.
more
That's
things.
really all
I got a
can
couple
think
more
about.
things cooking.
I can't. Oh, awesome! Alex will take us along on a fun ride.
I got a
very
couple more
soon as
things
well,
we can look at. I'm trying to see if I can like give you some type of.
In the meanwhile, little plugs. Let's plug our shit and get out of here. So hey, if you guys are listening to this podcast, specifically if you're listening on the iTunes or Apple Store, any of that good stuff, we are less than 1,000 away. Or should I say, we're less than 100 away from 1,000 reviews. So if you guys enjoy the podcast, drop us a review on iTunes. We're about to crack that 4-digit number. That'd be huge for us. As always, if you want to chat with us, you can leave us stories at the subreddit r/Chilluminati pod. We have some awesome stories going up for Halloween right now. People are just piling their personal stories over on that subreddit, so you can go check it out. You can always, as always, tweet at all of us at our personal Twitters. I'm at Mathis Games. Alex is at Fossian AA, and Jesse is at Jesse Cox.
I got to get a costume for our show, I think.
Did you see somebody wants to bring me an alien costume? Like an alien is carrying me like away?
I mean,
I
that's
want it.
terrifying, but yeah. Great.
Bring me a
I'm
mask, guys. I'll put a mask on.
I'm down. But thanks for listening. We love you guys very much, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
All right.
Chilluminatipod.com. Buy tickets.